What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about the new video game that we just got a trailer for, Jurassic Park Survival. Now, a lot of people are talking about this thing already, and judging by the views that it's gotten, it looks like it's completely overtaken interest in chaos theory and kind of brought a lot of eyes back on the old school look and feel of the original Jurassic Park era. In this video, I'm going to be going over a top 10 count of everything you need to know about the game, as well as providing some commentary on what I personally noticed in the material that's come out of the trailer so far. Your comments and questions from the last video I did were taken into consideration, and I'm going to be going over all of those things as well. So buckle up and So number 10 on the list is going to be adaptive dinosaur behavior, which is promised in the website, and that sounds like something that's going to be really interesting. Now, I'm not so sure what this means for the game itself, but judging by the species that we know were in the original Jurassic Park movie that I'm sure we can expect to see here, they're probably going to be adaptive to how you behave in the game. So if you hide behind something, maybe they'll figure out where you're going, and if you try to throw something or shoot something or jump somewhere, they'll also be adaptive to figuring out how you're playing the game. I'm assuming this is different on every individual animal, like let's say a Dilophosaurus versus a raptor, but to be honest with you guys, the one thing that actually reminded me the most of that during gameplay was something failed from Jurassic Park Trespasser. Because you see, one of the things they tried to implement in that game was the fact that every dinosaur had like this range of emotions, and because it was unfinished, they just set all the dinosaurs' aggression meter to really high when it went out to retail, which is why the raptors and everything is trying to kill you as soon as you get seen. But with this game being like 20 some odd years removed from Trespasser, maybe they are going to be a little more effective and, dare I say, work properly than that old Jurassic game, which leads me to number 9. Look guys, I don't know how the adaptive dinosaur behavior is going to play into the game, but there's obviously an influence from Trespasser. These are similar ideas that I think a lot of people have already talked about, and the fact that it's first person with a female protagonist is obvious as well. Now look, in Trespasser we played as Anne. She was voiced by Minnie Driver, and she was kind of just like a normal tomboy sort of character. Nothing about her really screamed insane. I do think they tried to write in a little bit of sub-story for her arm being broken, which is why you can only use one arm, which is kind of funny, but yeah, it looks like there's similar ideas with Jurassic Park Survival, and personally I'm all here for that. I think that that's a good idea to actually take that game as something of a base model for what you're doing in this modern version. But it's funny because Trespasser in a lot of ways is still kind of more groundbreaking and revolutionary. A lot of this game is probably going to use keyframe animations and stuff, so it's interesting to say the least. But I think Jurassic Park Survival with the adaptive dinosaur behavior and the first person point of view alone is very much being influenced by Trespasser, at least spiritually. Number 8, here's a fact that I'm sure all of you knew already. This is the first Park title in years. In fact, I think it's the first Jurassic Park thing since the early 2010s. Maybe Jurassic Park Builder was the last one, but I actually think this is a great sign. Behind the scenes, all the fans were kind of talking about how there hadn't been a Park title in a long time. Like they were unable to use the logo or something because of licensing. That's obviously not true because they keep putting Jurassic Park action figures and old school Jurassic Park video games out. They can call something Park. They just haven't done it since Jurassic World, which I think it's obvious to see now people do like Park in the title. And it's not just because it's a red logo. I think it's because of the time frame that we're talking about here. This is the first official Jurassic Park story that we've gotten since literally like the Telltale game, which we'll talk about later. But even with the Jurassic World Evolution DLC, Return to Jurassic Park, that was like a one-off random thing that didn't have anything to do with the official timeline. So even though they had Sam Neill and Laura Dern back, Jurassic Park Survival is the first game, and really first property in general, done on a AAA level that is full length using Park in the title and being set in the time period of the first movie. That's extremely interesting for a lot of fans, and I think this is why it's on the list, guys. There might actually be even more Jurassic Park stuff in the future if this takes off really, really well. So we may have finally exited out of the world era and into the park timeline again. But that leads us to number 7, which is another gameplay mechanic. We're going to be using found resources in this game and possibly even crafting stuff because we're on the island, possibly alone. I don't really know. We don't have much to go off of, but this is leading a lot of people to assume that the gameplay is going to be similar to another, video game that a lot of Jurassic Park fans have wanted to see adapted into their own franchise, Alien Isolation. If you've never played Alien Isolation before, you play as Amanda Ripley, which is Ellen Ripley's daughter, who we all learned died at the beginning of Aliens, and she kind of just goes around and collects stuff and puts it together and makes makeshift flamethrowers and other doohickeys to sort of survive against the xenomorph. Now, we're going to have to wait and see if that's the kind of mechanics that are going to be in Jurassic Park Survival, but I think it's safe to say that you can find like a flare and use it to throw in the distance and get rid of a T.rex, or possibly even some sort of crowbar to open up something. My big concern with this element is I wonder if Universal has reached ultimate, baby levels to where they won't let a character hold a gun. I hope not, but judging by something like Jurassic World Dominion, where Barry literally had a pistol in his hand and an Velociraptor was trying to attack him, and instead of shooting the dinosaur like he would have tried to do in Jurassic World, he tries to shoot a lock or something and waits for Owen to get him out. It's really silly and unbelievable and stupid. I don't care about them trying to protect the animals. It's dumb. So I would hope at the very least that they would come across some sort of way to get the character to pick up a weapon, even if she doesn't know how to use it. I mean, she can handle a taser stick or something, for God's sakes, but we're going to have to wait and see how the actual found resources work in this video game. Hopefully it'll be cool. I think that it could be if they play their cards right. But that leads us to number 6. This is the protagonist, Maya Joshi. Now, she actually also reminds me of a character from the really old Return to Jurassic Park storyline, and she's got a very early 90s Jubilee look, but I don't know. She is someone that I'm hoping is actually grounded and feels like she's from the 1990s and not modern. This is a big complaint that I saw a lot of people were worried about, and to tell you the God's honest truth, guys, it's completely normal to be worried about that because a lot of new IPs have been trying to force politics onto their characters, and they have these weird quotas where they have certain genders and certain ethnic groups be demanded on a script, and that always leads to an inferior quality product because instead of focusing on the story and writing, they focus on virtue signaling, and it's been a problem for a very long time. We're noticing at the box office right now, Godzilla -1 is clobbering all the American Hollywood films because people are tired of it. People like things to just be practical and normal, and Jurassic Park is a good example of that. But truth be told, I don't really know that we have anything to really go off of just yet for Maya Joshi. I'm hoping that she's more like a British version of Anne from Trespasser than something modern, because this takes place in 1993, and I think a lot of people just want to be left alone and kind of feel immersive and believable in their own Jurassic environment. We'll have to wait and see what's going on. My big complaint with the character from the cinematic, she's terrified of a Dilophosaurus, but as soon as a T.rex comes out, she's got her flare waving it confidently. I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute, man. I don't know if I buy into that. But again, it is a cinematic, and I think that this actually could be a good suspense-filled game if they just dial it back and actually focus on something like what Alien Isolation did, which is bring humanity to these characters, fear, the struggle to stay alive. And this is Jurassic Park Survival after all, so who knows, they could very, very well be doing that. But speaking of this whole time period, we got to go into number 5. This is the Telltale game. Basically, it's one day after Jurassic Park, and again, that was one of the last Park titles in years back from 2011. It's interesting how they've gone to one survivor being stuck on the island. Back then, it was Jerry Harding and Jess Harding, who happened to also be Sarah Harding's sister and dad from The Lost World. But they had the Nema Cruz character and a lot of other stuff. Now, the funny thing about Jurassic Park, the game, is it's technically deuterocanon. It's not, I hate calling it soft canon, I refuse. This is canon to a level because they've actually worked Mount Sibo into Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and the events are not set in stone perfect, which is probably why we're going to be doing this game the way it is. But it is the first time we've gone back to 1993 since 2011, and hopefully they've gone over the material from the 1994 cleanup and incorporated some of that stuff. Actually, maybe they wouldn't because it's so early, but we'll have to wait and see what's going on here. One interesting thing, the Velociraptor has gotten out of the freezer. I don't know how. It looks like it's unlocked, so either a human did it or he kept hitting his head against it until it fell out. We're gonna have to wait and see. That leads me to number 4. This is not a point and click game like Telltale. This is an action adventure game, which is because we got to talk about this, guys. This is not a survival horror game. Now, it is called survival, and I'm sure there's going to be horror elements, but this is action adventure. It's all over the website. A lot of people are calling it that. And okay, we just need to get this out there to as many people as possible, because I don't want people, saying this is something that it's not. I would really be interested to see how dark this game gets, how mysterious everything goes, and why they have opted to go in this direction rather than more of a horror feel. It feels like ever since Fallen Kingdom, they've shied away from that, because actually I don't really know why. It's kind of strange, to be completely honest with you, but I'm fine with it being more action adventure focused. I just hope that they really go in a direction that is scary, because if Jurassic Park's not scary, then it's Land Before Time at this moment. So we're gonna have to wait and see what that means. Judging by the gameplay, I do really like the way that the character is running and jumping onto a raft. I'm sure that we're going to be using flares and stuff like that, but she even shuts the gate in front of a Tyrannosaur's face. That's cool stuff, man. A lot of the old school Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo games were action and adventure, so hopefully they can channel some of that stuff into this real world environment. Now, that leads me to number 3. So the website says we're going to be facing surprising threats. I have no idea what that means. That could very well be biosyn, or maybe InGen workers, or some species that we're not aware of being on the island, but I don't know what to make of it. What is a surprising threat in Jurassic Park one day after the incidents? It's interesting, to say the least. And another critique I have for the character is that, in the cinematic, she throws her flashlight at a Dilophosaurus. I'm pretty sure you need that flashlight when you're lost in Jurassic Park, but hey man, that's just me. Well, we're gonna see what's actually going on here. Hopefully they can incorporate Herrerasaurs or something. Like, that would be a surprising threat. Or maybe shipping over animals from Site B or something. I'm not really sure what they're going to be doing there, but it could also be people. It could be biosyn. There could very well be biosyn soldiers that you have to come up against and, like, I don't know, fight off, but maybe try to evade them because they're after the cryo can or something that Nedry left behind. It's going to be really interesting to see where that leads. Hopefully it's not silly, but that also leads us to number 2, something that is definitely not silly. Did you know that this game stopped another game, Jurassic Park Operations? That was a big deal in the fan community for a long time, and it looks a lot like this one, but that was clearly made with a lot of love and effort, and they really went all out. Chronoticon has been chronicling JPO, Jurassic Park Operations, and a lot of the stuff he did with that game looks really, really good, and it was first person. You were going around the visitor center and stuff like that and evading dinosaurs. It's interesting how his game seems like it was more along the lines of working in the actual park pre-fall, whereas this is right after the fact. And I know that the trailer wanted to go in a lot of directions for, like, member berries, like, remember this that happened, remember this that happened. But with Jurassic Park Survival a day later, we kind of want to see what happens next, you know what I mean? I think the bottom line is that it's a shame that they had to go all out and do the cease and desist route with Jurassic Park Operations, because I actually think both could have existed at the same time and helped each other build Jurassic Park back up into a powerhouse of a brand for not just children but adults. And that actually leads me to number 1, guys. So believe it or not, Jurassic Park Survival, this has been a title that they have waited to use for years. I have no idea how long this particular game has been in development or how long the campaign is going to be, but Jurassic Park 3 got a survival game that was canceled on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. It was literally being made in junction with Jurassic Park 3, which is why that game probably got canceled, because the development of the movie was so all over the place. But yeah, and even like back in Jurassic World's time frame in 2015, Jurassic World Survivor, not Survival, but Survivor, was going to come out as well with Owen Grady. They had the Spinosaurus in that game, Suchomimus, Baryonyx, Tyrannosaurus. They had to cancel all of that because, well, honestly, I don't know why, but this title, this whole survival game thing, this has been in the making, in the back of Universal's like back burner, I mean, forever. Like, Trespasser tried it and failed. I don't know why it took them this long to go, and make one officially, but yeah, this has been something that's been in the works for a very long time. Not the title itself, but the spiritual aspect of this as a first-person survival game. This has been something Jurassic Park has wrestled with for years to release. Dude, just let's finally do this, and let's get it out there, and hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's not modernized with any weird political agenda, and hopefully it's like true to the source material. That's what I want. That's what the fans want. And I think that that could be what we get, as long as they do everything they can to make sure the audience feels like they're trapped in Jurassic Park trying to get out, just like those old days when we're playing Sega Genesis and arcade games. But yeah, that's basically the top 10 list, guys. This is a game that has taken a long time to come, not only for the actual first-person point of view, but being a park title. It's going to be finding resources and adaptive dinosaur behavior. It's taking inspiration from Trespasser, the Telltale game. It's action-adventure, just like the old-school 16-bit stuff. Surprising threats? I don't know what that is. Maybe more member berries, but how cool would it be to come across something we haven't seen before? Like, I don't know, Muldoon's body. That sounds awesome in my personal opinion, but yeah, like, I'm just hoping that this knocks it out of the park, because I would love for Jurassic Park to get back to what makes Jurassic Park awesome. And I'm excited, man. I'm not someone that despises or hates a lot of things that are in this franchise. I just give my critiques here and there, and I've done that for all of these movies. I just think Jurassic Park Survival has a great shot at being great. And hopefully they knock it out of the park, but if they don't, Night Dive Studios, can you please remaster Trespasser? Anyways, guys, those are all just my own thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you're most excited to see from Jurassic Park Survival, and let me know where you want this franchise to go in the future in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I want to thank everyone that's helped me build my channel over the years. I'd also like to thank every one of you guys who've watched my stuff. You've all been extremely cool to me. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and hope that you'll consider subscribing. God bless you all. Christ is King. See you guys in the next video, and as always, take it easy.